Right then, guys, welcome back. And let me tell you now, we have a crazy round to come up. So, obviously, it was a lunch break, so we've managed to get ourselves like a lunch break round, as it were. Game one has been played, but we have the one and only, our current world champion, Andre Screwball, versus a good friend of mine, actually, number one CP in the UK, Demetrius Eaton. And like I said, game one's been played already, but I was watching it, and it was a chess match.
Yes, and of course we're going into this game with Demi already winning game one.
Yeah.
So Andre's on the back foot and he's looking to get back up onto that podium.
Yeah, so like I tell you, this is a juggernaut matchup here, honestly. And like I said, game one, Demetrius did win, but it was a chess match. Like I said, both Demi only got out one Archeops via Summoning Star, and Andre had a little bit of a slow start, but did get two Archeops, but then one got bossed down all of a sudden. And it's those games that separate, in my opinion, good from great players. Been able to navigate games where both players haven't got, the right resources or the right setup, and, being able to navigate those wins. And I'm not going to lie, folks, there were some players I was watching, I'm thinking, what have we done that for? And then the next turn, it was really obvious, and I'm like, oh, okay, so that's why, like we said again, I'm this side of the caster's desk, and I'm not there playing on stream. But in case you don't know, Andre on the left there is our current world champion.
Yes, and they're both playing Lugia. Now, you're speaking about what separates the great from the greater, let's say, and they're both playing their own little variations of Lugia. Some might say on the front of it that it's the regular old Lugia with how it's structured in terms of Pokemon. However, trainers looking very different. Now, Andre opting for the Lost Vacuum, Demi not. These are slight differences that we see, and they're all based on preference. They're based on preference and what they would maybe think they're going to likely see in day one.
Yeah, definitely, and I can give you some insight into why Demetrius has some of those cards. Like I said, he is actually my best friend. I can tell you why these cards here. So, like we said, Andre is playing 2 copies of Lost Vacuum. Demi is playing none. Reason being, he's saying, well, the Lost Vacuum doesn't quite auto in the Duraludon matchup anyway, and it's not that great in other matchups, so I'm opting not to play it. He likes those tech cards that have uses in other games, such as the Bird Keeper, which he is playing. Demi is also playing 1 copy of the Thumping Snorlax, which came in huge in game 1. Letting you have a 1 prize in your active that can swing heavily. And Andre's start there, not the greatest. Raikau lead with a speed energy and a pass.
And we see here Demi just slamming down that evolution instead, so you can imagine what he's trying to get. And I just want to mention here one more thing as well.
Yeah.
Andre's opting for a 3-2 line of Lugia.
Yeah.
Now, Demi going for a little bit more of a consistent way of going 3-3. Now, why do you think that might be?
Well, I know for a fact Demi is playing 3 basic Lugia because he's maxed out the counts of capture energy, so he can afford to get rid of that 4th Lugia, saying that capture is, as you can see, look at that, you love it when you say something and it comes up, there it is. So because he's playing the max count of capture, it allows him to get to that Lugia nice and easily. And I know for a fact he's playing 3 Lugia V-Star, it's over 2, because he says, like we mentioned in our first round when we were commentating, you have to get over that initial hurdle with Lugia. Yeah. There's no if and buts about it. You have to get Lugia V-Star and you have to get 2 Archeops out. As we see 2 Archeops hit the discard pile there in a very fast. So Demetrius basically opting to say, right, when this deck sets up, it is the best deck in format by a long shot. So I know Demi's mindset is thinking, I just want to make my deck set up, get into the game, and start Primal Turbine ASAP, and that's why he's got the 3 copies of V-Star.
Yeah, and we see here, they both start on the Raikau, the Amazing Ray Raikau, and it's not a terrible starter against Lugia. Mirror, right?
No, yeah.
We got that weakness, we got that lightning weakness coming in from Lugia, so maybe we can see Demi punishing Andre here for the bad start and taking some early prizes.
Yeah, and what the Raikau start really does is it forces the opponent to get down the mana feed quick. Otherwise, you can start sniping stuff down, and sometimes your opponent can't get the mana feed down, but Demetrius is drawing quite well here, managed to get the mana feed down, gets the Lugia. Now, he's a little bit vulnerable here to a boss KO on this Lugia, and that's where you see that quick ball having to find a mana feed over a second Lugia could come back to bite him. So the Raikau lead really forcing some chess. And here we go over to Andre with a research. I think 1 copy of Archeops in there.
Yeah.
What research means no boss, though, so Demetrius is going to be in the game.
Demi's going to be safe for sure. And, it's a question here always with Lugia players. Oh, well, we see the second Archeops, but I think my question was going to be, would you still Summoning Star the one Archeops here? You know, it's a question that you see a lot with Lugia players.
Yeah.
You know, what do I preference here? Do I preference getting an attack off, or do I just wait and see how my opponent plays and then put down the 2 and try and maximize the effect?
It's interesting. That came up in game 1 because Demetrius was drawing pretty bad, and there was a turn where he could have Summoning Star for 1, opted not to, see if he can top that something good with Oranguru. Didn't happen, and then Demetrius said, "Well, I'm going to have to Summoning Star now." Actually brought back Oranguru of all things, because you can get back colorless Pokemon, and then and then managed to squeak out the win. So, and that's what I think would, like I said, separates the sort of good from great players. Has been able to operate a deck like Lugia with only one Archeops, so it becomes a completely different animal. You can't just bench something and get it into play straight away. You have to bench it preemptively, attach energy, and
we do see him use.
Here we go. Summoning Star for 2.
For the 2, so we're off to the races, so to speak. And what's interesting here, with both players starting Raikou, you know, would Andre protect the Raikou, retreat here, and maybe use the Raikou for his maximum impact against the Lugia, you know, taking the weakness knockout? Or do both players say, you know, let's just take Raikou out of the game and just knock each other's Raikou out? We do see him energy it up, actually.
Yeah, I think you do, because what this does is it forces Demi to, like, well, you sort of have to hit into this Raikou. Right? You have to respect it, because Demi doesn't actually play a Dunsparce, so you can't really let this Raikou carry on. So what this does, it lets Andre take a cheeky prize card, which is good, and it forces Demetrius to only take 1 prize card next turn, allowing you to set up that Lugia, get it ready for some big action. Raikou's really strong. It's an interesting one. These amazing rares have come back into fashion recently, you know, with Mirage Gate and Primal Turbo. Because when they first came out, we can all appreciate these attacks are really strong, right? But we just can't set them up. But then when you can get 4 energy from your deck, all of a sudden...
it's the energy count, and we're talking about the diversity of this format. With engines like Primal Turbo, like Mirage Gate, you can pretty much play anything. As we saw in the last round, you know, Seb opting for Ditto V, Raikou V, Greedent V Max, you know. So it's really anybody's game if you're a great deck builder, for sure.
100%. Now, this is going to be interesting. I was about to say, are we going to see the Snorlax here? And I know for a fact this is 100% why Demetrius plays the Snorlax. I've been on the receiving end of this Snorlax a lot in testing for this exact situation, because in Lugia games where you play the Snorlax and your opponent doesn't, it just gives you another 1 prize to send up. You would imagine that if Demetrius opted to respond to this Raikou with a Lugia, Andre's Yveltal just comes swinging back to remove it from play. But now Andre's going to have to try and maneuver around this Snorlax or hit into it, again keeping that sort of single prize stalemate for longer.
Yeah, it's a game of prize mapping.
Yes,
especially in the mirror. You know, we talk about earlier in the round earlier in the day with Mew against Lugia. You know, it's a game of one-upsmanship. But in the Lugia mirror, it's who can utilize their single prizes more.
Yes,
you know?
Who can get the most value, exactly.
And who can make a pain of themselves in terms of those single prizes. Sometimes it could be the Charizard, of course, with the heat energy, bumping it up to such big health. But also, as we can see here, Demi taking advantage of the Snorlax.
Yeah, and it's really interesting with the Snorlax as well, because what a lot of Lugia players will do in this sort of single prize war is they will use Luminium, Aqua Return, to promote another 1 prize, but Snorlax with its HP cannot get Aqua Return, so it's going to force Andre to, like we most likely see here, the Lugia, and then having the Lugia come up, and that sort of breaks the 1 prize stalemate, as it were.
For sure, and we'll see here what Andre how he navigates through this now.
Yes.
You know, does he just take a boss and try and go for, say, the Yveltal or Lugia, or does he see the biggest threat being that Snorlax?
I mean, Snorlax is a real interesting card in the mirror, honestly. Like, if you go around it, it can just swing up again. What we saw actually in game 1 was Demetrius was combining the Snorlax, KOing Andre's Archeops. So now you're removing the energy acceleration and you're sticking a 1 prize inactive, which can't get Aqua Return, and it really forces some hurdles. But if anyone can get over those hurdles, how about a world champion,
No, for sure, for sure. And interesting here, opting for the powerful energies. This tells me he may be going for a boss play.
Yes.
However, what he could have done here, you know, capitalizing on the benched Manaphy from Demi, he could have gone for a late Stoutland V play.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
You see that quite often. It does just come up. You know, it's just a very surprise pop-off. But as we can see here, Andre opting for the boss and seeing the biggest threat being, well, we'll see being either the Lugia or the Yveltal, you imagine.
100%. And this is a play we saw in game 1, actually, the Minion coming in super clutch, being able to boss. And like we said, this triple powerful energy does get you to a KO range. Wait a minute, is that a V-Guard on the Lugia?
It is, yep.
It is, so does triple powerful get you there with a V-Guard?
It's 280, yep.
Yep.
Yeah, it's 280, so he's got the knockout, and also, obviously, that that damage reduction with the V-Guard energy. So you know, he's all more than ready.
Oh, no, it wasn't a boss, sorry. It was just a... Oh, no, it was a boss. Oh, was that a concession?
Oh, it was a concession. Quick concession from Demi, seeing that Andre ahead in the prize race and probably hoping for a quick game 3.
Yeah, and I think, and that's actually something, oh, wow, that's interesting. I was chatting to Demi earlier, and he did say he's going to try and get a deep run. And he was saying if he gets to that 6-2 record, he would look to play it out, trying to have himself a better odds to get into the top cut in day 2. So Demi looks like opting to say, right, this could be a long game 2. I don't want to tie. I want to win. So let's scoop them up quick. Let me go first in the mirror, which has many advantages, and opting to potentially put it on the line to get a win. Love to see this risky play.
It's a risk, of course, but you know, it's a positive one, I would say. You know, he knows he's going to be going first into this Lugia mirror. We know the story. It's all based on the flip, but not always. Not always.
No, we have seen there is ways to maneuver around the mirror if you're going second. It's not the easiest thing in the world. I would say there definitely is an advantage for the person going first, but it's definitely it's a risk that I would take if I was Demi. So, you know, I want this win now. I want to get to 3-0. A very good start if you're looking to make a deep tournament run.
And scooping so early, or conceding, I should say, so early in the game, you know, we talk about separating the great from the greater.
Yeah.
You know, this is somebody who is well tested, well prepared for the format, and like you said, he knows his ideas going into the day. He wants to risk it all for a win, regardless if he knows he may be getting a loss. So, you know, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, like I said, it's interesting because if you're looking to make, if a day 2 isn't just your goal, if you want to get to the top 16s, top 8s, or even take the whole event home, the extra win now can be really pivotal. So I appreciate the risk, and it's something that, like you said, if you're wanting to make those deep runs, then you're going to have to take these risks every now and then. Like he said, if he got to a 6-2 record, he would play out the last round to try and get to that 7-2 instead of the 6-2-1 to make it into day 2. So
for sure,
big risk here, but we love to see it all on the line. Let's go, baby.
And as we look into the prizes, not fantastic from Demi. You know, there's 4 energy. We've talked about how strong a resource having energy is. Of course, you need energy to attack. Of course, we all know that. But, you know, prizing 4, not ideal, as well as the Archeops, not ideal again. Quick Ball may come into play for consistency, but as we can see here, Andre, not too detrimental.
No, not too bad at all. Stoutland doesn't really get used too much in the mirror outside of picking up a cheeky KO on Dunsparce and or Manaphy. So I don't think you mind seeing that in the prizes. You know, Choice Belt in the prizes does play 2 copies, Andre. So prize is not too bad for Andre. I would give Andre the prize advantage, as it were. And it looks like Demetrius just capture energies out of Lugia. And was that a... I think it was.
I believe it was, yeah. Because Andre's looking at his hand like he's about to play something. So I imagine it was just a pass. Not strong from Demi.
No, and especially if you combine with Marnie. This is where Marnie can be so devastating.
Yeah.
If you don't get a chance to play a supporter and you're given a 4-card hand to start the turn, it can get dicey. Yeah. What are we going to draw here?
Plays nothing.
There's a research, though. I did see a research for Demi. What's Andre got, though? I see an Aurora. I see an Oranguru. Good start. Doesn't look Luminion. We do see an energy, but you don't really want to play an Aurora in this scenario. No. Let's see what the Primate Wisdom gets. So you probably preserve...
Probably the Luminion.
I was about to say Luminion or Lugia seem like the safest options. Let's see what the old monkey gets. Ooh. Yeah, I don't think it was good. Evolution Incense. Oh, that's wow.
And you know what he can do? Read the wind.
Yeah, right? Read the wind, yeah.
And the extra 3 cards in hand, but we know that using the Evolution Incense, he's put the Luminion on the top, but that's going to be shuffled right back in. So he's going to be, most probably going to be Marnieing next turn, as we can imagine. He's got that in hand. So unless he obviously gets something better off the Read the Wind. But,
yeah.
You know.
Well, I tell you what this line does do. It leaves Andre vulnerable. If this Lugia goes down, this game could start to get away. There's only 1 Lugia down. There's not going to be another way to get one. Here we do see a Read the Wind, discard a card from your hand and draw 3 items. Or maybe up to hold on to them, actually. Look, he's debating it. It's a good hand. Ooh, yeah, just a pass. All right, what has Demetrius could close this game out here. What do we see? We see a boss. That's not too relevant.
Relax.
We see a research, but no
We see the research.
Archeops.
We see the research. So
All right.
he's at least got something here. You know, he's probably going to hope for. And this is where
This is a big turn.
This is where the decision comes. Do you opt for the one Archeops and try to punish this?
Oh, we see one Evolution Incense. We see a quick ball. I don't see a V-Star. I don't think that's going to be enough to really needed to get an Archeops in a combination with that Evolution Incense to capitalize on the potential slow start there. Here we do see an Archeops though, so maybe we see some Oran Guru shenanigans maybe to try and get back in this game.
Perhaps, yeah. But you know, it's good to mention. You know, Yveltal 2 retreat cost, not easy to get out.
True,
it's not easy to get out of the active. You know, and what Demi would really like is to punish with the Lugia here and take that knockout. Opting for the Pumpkaboo. He's probably going for a thinning is winning, as we like to say.
Yeah, thinning is winning, baby.
It's not going to be a card that's going to be too impactful on the game. We know that both players don't play any copies of Stadium.
And a pass.
And it's a pass. It's a powerful energy attached pass.
So now all of a sudden, Demetrius' advantage going first is now null and void because it looks like Andre most likely will be the first one to get Summoning Star. And now Demetrius is in the same scenario that Andre is in. And we see Amani.
Money again.
I was about to say, we could see a boss kill on a Lugia, but that's not the case. We see Amani. Amani is just disruptive supporter, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And it's another pass.
Was that a pass? Was that?
I think so. Oh, no.
No, it was. I was going to say. I think that was, I won't cut your hand, but I think that was, yeah.
So the Archeops here going into the bin with a quick ball, getting off the money, opting for the Manaphy and going for the summoning.
I think that's two Archeops down now, isn't it?
Yeah, that's lovely. Lovely to see. From Andre's point of view, that is.
Yeah. And this is quite scary because Yveltal's going down. It's such a trump card in Lugia, right? I'm just say I'm just going to KO whatever you put in the active. That's fine.
Yeah.
And there the double powerful energy Lugia, getting ready to take some names.
And it's asking so much from Demi now. It's asking a lot. You know, he's looking to probably prioritize all those powerfuls as well as a choice belt to knock out that opposite Lugia V-Star. He's got the choice belt.
Got the choice belt. Got the choice belt.
But what else is he going to do? He's got the Luminium. So he's
probably going to have to find a researcher, I imagine, at this point.
He's coming back into the game at least.
Is there one Archeops in the discard pile for Demi already? Was there?
I believe so.
I think one hit discard last turn off the Mani, right? Yeah, because yeah. Right, so big research here then for Demi. We see another, the DTE. Thought I could have been a sneaky Archeops in the bin there, but not. Drawing 7. We see an Evolution Incense. Was that an Ultra Ball as well? I think it was. Yeah. And
and there's the quick ball.
Yeah, so okay. So
and we know he's got the Ultra Ball as well, which is great. So he can get his second attacker ready if he wants to pop down another Lugia V as well.
Yeah, and this is going to be a really interesting one now. Because like I said, Demetrius went first, but Andre was the one to get the first Summoning Star. So something like the first advantage of going first is now null and void. It's gone flip back the other way, and I think it's safe to say Andre's in the driver's seat now.
Yeah, it would be good for Demi to get the knockout here if he could. Now we know that Andre doesn't have another attacker on board. He'll have to try and manage that himself, trying to get maybe a single prizer, maybe a Yveltal or a Radiant Charizards to match it up. But you know, we see here Demi opting out for those powerful energies. We see them being attached.
And that is a loaded Lugia. 3 powerful energies and a choice belt. Perfect maths there, I believe.
Yeah, so we know he's got the knockout.
Yeah. And so Demetrius is the first one to take 2 prize cards. So who do you think had the advantage more? Andre had the first Summoning Star, but Demetrius takes 2 prize cards first.
Well, I feel like it's deja vu, but it's again asking a lot from Andre now. You know, it's whether he can navigate this well enough to get another attacker on board, possibly opting for the Radiant Charizard to try and get him back on his feet.
Yeah, I have to imagine if Andre can take a KO here with a 1 prize, that's a strong position to be in. Yep. Let's see what Andre can manufacture. We see a quick ball, it's a good start. That basically means you can get your attacker of choice.
For sure.
Could even see Yveltal here potentially, you know, if Charizard, if he hasn't got the choice belt. I guess there is one of the prizes for Andre actually, so finding choice belt might be the hardest piece of the puzzle.
I guess the problem here as well is with Andre not having that second attacker on board, he's going to have to promote something just to retreat, right? So he's going to need that energy to retreat the Manaphy. So we may be seeing a sacrificial Manaphy here because we're opting to see the...
Well, you can attach one from hand still, I believe.
Right,
yeah, but you have to have it in hand,
You have to have it in hand.
Wow.
So opting for the Yveltal. Big knockout here from Andre.
Yeah, this is tough. Yvettel, 1 prize in the active, taking 2 prize cards here, putting the pressure straight back on Andre at 3 prize cards, Demetrius at 4. So it could get all tied up here off an Aqua return, which I imagine is probably what we're going to see. And then Demetrius can maybe throw up the Snorlax to potentially tank a hit, because that can take any sort of attack outside of a Combustion Blast.
Yeah, for sure. And we see here the Lumenion floating back in to the deck and promoting the Snorlax. Now that Snorlax is a big boy.
Yeah.
You're going to need a good attacker to.
Yeah, you can't just you can't Aqua return that one. You're going to have to actually commit something.
Opting to promote the Archeops. Now, just when I said last turn that he was going to opt for the Radiant Charizard because it was an easier one, he just had everything in hand for the Yveltal. Now, promoting the Archeops, maybe this time is where Andre struggles.
Yeah, I mean, I think they've both got 1 retreat cost, right? Manaphy and Archeops. So if Andre can maneuver out the active, he can do it with either one. I mean, we could even see, what's the Speed Wing 120? What, triple powerful energy on the...
Yep.
It's an option, but I don't even know if Andre's got enough powerful energies for that. So here comes the Ultra. We have to imagine Charizard's probably the way to go here, unless you could see some sort of... Yep, there's Charizard right on cue.
Yep. And I believe he still has the heat energy in deck.
Yes, I believe so. Yeah. And obviously with that Excited Heart ability, Charizard will be able to attack for, what, 2 energy right now.
Yeah.
So there's Primal Turbo, 1 to the active, and then second Primal Turbo, I imagine, to Charizard.
Yep.
And then we can see a Pay Retreat, Combustion Blast for the KO. And this is getting a bit scary for them. That board is not developed, but I guess you can Aqua return a Charizard.
Yeah.
So...
But then again, for Andre, he's using a lot of energy here.
No,
it's a lot of energy being used on retreating, like we said earlier. I've mentioned it a few times now, but we've got we know we've used the 3 Aurora or Yveltal. We know he's used that double turbo, and he's in this mode where he's going to have to keep promoting retreating, and slowly those resources just wither away.
Here we go. Speaking of Charizard, I got a bit of Charizard on Charizard action here potentially. Now, are we going to see? What we're going to see here? We're going to see a boss into Archeops, I believe, is what we're going to see here. Maybe. Or we're going to see.
Interesting. I
wonder.
So he's opting.
Where are these energies going on to then? Onto the
Lumenion. So he's going to be using the 120 shuffle in and knockout on the Charizard.
I mean, there is a line here where you can go Aqua return into Charizard and then boss Stoutland Manaphy for game.
Yeah.
That might be what Demetrius is trying to line up.
I imagine so. We know that he's used most of his powerful energies, however. So, maybe the Stoutland isn't going to be the play here. Now, he also does have that 1 more powerful energy in the
prizes.
As well as that heat energy.
Maybe he was hoping to take out our prizes there.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe he was banking on that. But, again, we've said it before, Andre, looking to...
Yeah, this is...
Yeah, he has to promote something here. And...
This is a tough situation for both players here.
Very tough.
Like you said, Andre's having to burn through resources, or constantly having to attach, retreat. Stuff. Attackers are hitting the discard pile at a fast rate.
He is counting the energy.
Yeah, and as good as Lugia is and Archeops, they are very good, but it's quite an energy-hungry deck. It does need them. Some decks playing as high as 16 energy these days, and a lot of them have been hitting the discard pile for Andre. What can he manufacture here? This is getting close.
And this is where we see now promoting the Archeops, and maybe Andre has the writing on the wall with his discard pile, looking at the resources that are available and saying, now I'm just going to have to start tagging with the Archeops. And I mean, it's not a terrible place to be in. We know he's on 2 prizes, both of them are.
Yeah.
So if he can take the knockout with the Archeops, we'll see where we go from here.
Yeah, this is tough. I'm assuming we haven't had a good chance to look at his whole discard pile in its entirety, but I am guessing on Andre's energy is looking a bit thin. Here we see a Primate Wisdom. Let's see what that takes here. Body language tells me it weren't the greatest, because if it's a good card, Rabbi, and I'm sure in the chat now as well, you all know if you get a good card, it's going straight down.
Just have it down.
Yeah.
Do us all a favour.
Yeah.
Finish the game, please.
I'm not a mind reader. I'm a lot of mind reader, though. So do us a favour, play the cards quick.
Yeah, for sure. And so there's a little bit of thinking time, going through each other's discards, probably looking at how much energy have you used?
Yeah, it's literally. How many boss you got left? How many energy you got left? How many powerfuls?
And we're definitely at that stage.
It looks like time has been called. We'll try and get a confirmation to work out on whose turn it was. We do see Ultra Ball here. That means an attacker can at least come down, whichever attacker it is. But I think Royal's hit the discard pile. We could see Aqua return.
We could see it.
Option. It's an option.
It's definitely an option. So Andre going through the Zag, probably thinking, what can I do here?
Yeah, it's definitely tough. That's another situation where Snorlax could be good because it's not too energy hungry. Can utilize double turbo, can only attacks for 3 energy, but
for sure.
Yeah, we do see a Lumineon. Yeah. But then think about it, Andre's going to always have to maneuver this Archeops with. That means it always have attached 1 from hand. I think he's done that 2 times in a row without actually drawing too many cards. So actually energy in hand could be the limiting factor here. So.
Yeah. And like we said earlier, just having that having that problem is always going to be hungry on your resources. And Andre's probably thinking now as well as this, how do I not...
Was that a pass?
It was a pass, yeah.
It was a pass. Wow, okay. Wasn't expecting that. So we see a boss. I imagine Aurora boss into Archeops. Oh, I can say into Archeops. There's already one. There's already one in the action. Don't worry about that one.
To Primal Turbo just before we do that. Now, of course, the problem here is he can use the Charizard. That's not a problem. But what are you attacking with?
Yeah, it has to maneuver around a bit. You're correct.
Yeah.
There we see Aurora getting rid of an Archeops.
Both on 2 prizes. There's no 2 prizers on the board.
No, exactly. There's no way for, like you said, Demetrius can't use Stoutland because there's not enough powerfuls left. And Demetrius hasn't got any basic Pokemon for Andre Stoutland to capitalize on, so there's going to be no way for each player to win this turn or their next turn, I should say. So we just see a big Combustion Blast. Andre's down to 1 Archeops, definitely right in against the wall. Looks like he's laughing and chuckling to himself. And this is what he was like in game 1 just before the concession. So looks like going to check the disc up here, like, what have you got left?
Yeah, and he's just going to check.
And Demetrius did take the powerful out of the prizes as well. So Boss Manaphy is live if the game state stays as it is now.
Yeah. Now he does need to retreat the...
you are correct. You are correct.
So, you know, although Combustion Blast is such a busted attack, obviously.
Yeah, it is.
It does limit you in some way, thankfully.
Yeah, thankfully.
You won't be able to use it next turn. So Demi will have to either try and switch into the Archeops and take a knockout, like you said, on the Manaphy. But as we see here, Andre promotes the Archeops.
We do see a Lumineon.
Yeah.
Lumineon with that Luminous Sign ability. I believe that you grab any supporter. What do you imagine? See, getting Boss here is risky because Boss resets the Combustion Blast, so you can't really... Maybe it's just going to be a Marnie.
Yeah, I can't...
Just a Marnie and hope that Demetrius can't keep maneuvering around.
Now, Demi would have built a bigger hand here.
Yeah, his hand is huge.
He's been taking prizes. So, you know, Andre's thinking, right, how do I not lose this game? It's not so much how do I win anymore, it's how do I not lose. So, you know, promoting the Archeops, we know that Demi's used most of his powerful energy. So, you know, it might not be that. So we see the Primal Turbo. So we know that Demi can't take a knockout with the Archeops on the Archeops because of the amount of powerful energy in the bin. He's got 1. So we see the Archeops in the
120, 100, 120 that goes up to. Maybe, yeah, I wonder, interesting opting to attach here for the Speed Wing.
I guess, you know, writing's on the wall for maybe Andre here. Maybe it's that.
True.
Maybe it's that. You know, he's just playing to his outs. So we see here drawing 7.
Looks like didn't see anything too impactful. I mean, we saw a Lugia V, but that can't come down here. We saw some Evolution Incenses. Looks like we're just going to see a Speed Wing and just saying, I hope you can't play musical chairs with your with your Charizard, as it were. I mean, Demi doesn't play any of this thing like Escape Rope. Does play a Bird Keeper. All else we're going to see a Pay Retreat. This
is where we get to the moment of how do I not lose?
Yeah.
So retreating into the Lugia.
So I'm not sure what turn. I imagine this might be turn 3. I'd like to see if we can get a confirmation on that one. If this is turn 3 for Demi.
I think I just saw the boss in hand for Demi. So, you know,
he's got the Illuminion sign for it earlier and didn't play it.
So it's a case now of whether Demi can retreat into the Archeops, attack with it against the Manaphy.
All right, here we go then. Last turn, I imagine. Primal Turbo. See, this is how you know the hand's good when you're playing at this speed. You have to imagine
it's confident.
Things are good. Yeah,
He's confident.
We see Primal Turbos onto, looks like for a captain of V-Guard. So that's going to go onto...
I think I saw the double turbo as well.
Yeah, so you can attach 1 more.
Yeah.
So you can pay retreat there. Energy in hand.
Yeah.
Energy in hand. Boss's orders. And there it is. Wow. What a game.
Demetrius Seaton taking the game. 3-0. He's going 3-0 now into round 4. you know, what a great match.
Wow. Now I've had such a wave of energy and excitement because that is my best friend there, everybody, right there. Just beating the current world champion and did a really risky maneuver there in that game too, basically saying, I'm not going to win this. I don't want a tie. So let's scoop them up quick. I'm going to bet on myself getting the win. And those early turns in Game 3 did not look that impressive. It could have went either way, but Demetrius managing to maneuver his way around and get to that 3-0 record.
No, it totally paid off as well. You know, he scooped that very early.
Yeah.
You know, we were even surprised that he scooped that early, but it seems like that risk just totally paid off.
Yeah, now he's at 3-0, and you have to imagine confidence level now. Not every day you get to play a world champion, let alone beat a world champion, and concede that game 2 really quick, betting on yourself against the world champion. The confidence levels sky high. And like I said, being able to maneuver Lugia when it's not, you know, at full capacity, when you have that summoning star turn 3, turn 4, or summoning star for 1 Archeops, they're the sort of games you learn a lot from as a player, playing and watching. So I hope you was all keeping notes.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's navigating your way to that.
Yes,
you know, it's all about the journey. You know, Pokemon's not a sprint, it's a marathon. You know, and it's the same thing now for Demi. He's going into round 4, 3-0, full of confidence, but the day's not over.
No.
You know, round 4, sure, players are starting to form their records for the end of the day, but, you know, he's still got a lot more Pokemon to play.
A lot more Pokemon, but a terrific start there as well. And commiserations to Andre. I think played it really well, to be honest with you. I don't think there was anything I wouldn't have done, but just didn't seem to fall his way, unfortunately.
No, played it as well as he could. I think he just got stuck in that, you know, the motion of having to promote something and retreat.
Yes.
You know, it's those resources that are so important to Lugia.
Yeah, and then we see the addition of like the Snorlax coming in handy there, letting you attack for less amounts. But like you said, having to constantly, you know, attach to retreat. And Lugia, it doesn't really grow its hand. I mean, you can research, right? But that's going to get rid of resources. So it can't really grow the hand over time as like a Chorus experiment engine. So if you're always having to attach retreat and only relying on top decks and maybe a prize every here and there, you can run into that sort of problem and your mid to late game can sort of slow down. And that's where Demetrius sort of powered through.
Yeah, no, and we spoke about how single prizes are so important to this matchup.
Yeah.
How you utilize them, and we completely saw that there as well in that game. You know, as you said, the Snorlax. But it's interesting to say the Snorlax. It was one differentiation between the both lists.
Yes.
You know, both players playing their own preferences. Now, you know, you say Andre opting for the Dunsparce, Demi opting for the Snorlax. It completely paid off in that matchup. Raikou wasn't too much of an issue for them either. So you know, he's going to be going in with confidence at the next game.
Yeah, definitely. And I know for a fact he loves that Snorlax. That's one of his favourite cards in the deck. So he would have been... and we didn't get to see it as much in those 2 games. But in Game 1, that Snorlax was the MVP, let me tell you.
Yeah. And we speak about diversity of the format, people making their own additions into Lugia. Of course, we spoke about it last round. You know, the Ditto V, the Raikou, and the Greedent. Completely different, of course. Yeah. But, you know, even the smallest slight differences that we see in some of these top players' lists.
Yeah, cancelling Clone we saw as well. Like, I mean, Lugia might be like the big bad deck of the format, but it has a lot of wiggle room to sort of play these interesting cards. Double Vacuum. I think even Amy at Liverpool was playing like a Path to the Peak build, similar to how DTMU wants to Path Vacuum. She was playing that, and she went to 6-3 as well, so she, you know, getting points for that. So there's so many different ways to play it. I have to imagine if I was playing, I like that Greedent though.
Yeah.
I like the Greedent.
And it's interesting, we spoke about, you know, preferences as well, and we know Demi's not playing the Lost Vacuum. He came up against a mirror. It wouldn't have, you know, maybe it wouldn't have mattered whether he played Lost Vacuum or not. It's gonna not be that. It's not going to be that impactful. You know, it's playing to what you think you're going to be playing on the day, what's going to be most impactful in certain matchups, and you know, it completely showed.
And that's the sort of thing, I think, that's the sort of metagaming as you get into these big events. And it's not even necessarily what deck you play, it's how you tune that deck to what you expect to play, right? Like I know Demi says, I don't expect to play more than 1 Duraludon, and even then Duraludon can still beat me even if I play 1 copy of Lost Vacuum. So I'm not going to play that. I'm going to use that spot to maybe play Birdkeeper, which does help against Articuno, or to play the Snorlax, which helps me in a multitude of different decks. So, and I think that's how you can really give yourself an advantage in these big events. If you can predict the meta right and tailor your deck towards that, you can just make these 50-50s, 60-40s, or anything like this.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And, you know, we've seen over these past few games now the weaknesses of Lugia as well. You know, they haven't been able to start their preferred starter being Lugia all the time. You know, they're having to maneuver around what they're starting, and it's not a simple deck to play. You know, it's not simple. You have to go to your routes. You have to navigate the way correctly.
No, exactly. It might seem easy on paper, right? You can just fling around for energy and get to popping. And to be fair, at its most basic entry level, it probably is. But if you want to take it to a big, deep run, you're going to have to know meticulously when to attach V-Guard, when to attach Capture, when to attach Powerful here, even though I got this in the discard pile. And that's what separates the good from the great players.
Of course, of course. And we'll be right back with a break, after the break, with our round 4. So stay tuned.